Hello guys, in this video I am explaining OSI model, which is an important concept in computer networks. Let me start with the introduction. So Open System Interconnection Model is a conceptual model created by the International Organization for Standardization. They mainly created this model to serve as a reference for establishing a communication between two different computer systems. If you want to exchange information between two different computer systems, you can use OSI model as a reference. So in detail I will explain the OSI model now. OSI model follows the layered architecture where one layer can use the services of the other layer. OSI model mainly contains 7 layers. For first one is physical layer, second one is data link layer, third one is network layer, fourth one is the transport layer, fifth one is a session layer, sixth one is a presentation layer, and lastly the seventh layer is a application layer. Here one layer can use the services of the other layer. First I will discuss the each layer in detail, then I will give an example for this. So after the example you will understand this in a more better way. Let me start with the application layer first. So what is application layer? This is the only layer where user can directly interact with the software applications like web browsers and emails, right? So it also supports protocols like HTTP and SMTP. That means in a simple words, this layer allows the user to interact with the applications, software applications. So next layer is a presentation layer. This layer is responsible for encryption, decryption, compression of data, right? So what is encryption and decryption? Encryption means I'm converting my actual information into other formats, that means into different format. Why we have to do this means if we encrypt our data can be hidden from the hackers, right? In this way I can give protection to my data. So presentation layer is responsible for those tasks. Next one is a session layer. Session layer is responsible for opening and closing the communication between the devices. So session actually is a time between it's a time between when the communication is open and when it is closed, right? The session layer is also ensure that session should stay open as long as all the data is transferred, right? So session layer is responsible for establishing a communication and also closing a communication. So next is transport layer. Transport layer is responsible for end-to-end communication. End-to-end communication means it will take the data from the session layer and breaking it up into chunks called segments. Here in transport layer, your information will be in the form of segments, right? So here transport layer is also responsible for reassembling your segments, because your segments can arrive from different intermediate nodes, right? So that's why reassembly is necessary. Those reassembly is taken care by transport layer. And also transport layer is also responsible for flow control and error control. Flow control determines, right, what is the speed of transmission to ensure that a sender with a fast connection doesn't overwhelm a receiver with a slow connection. That means synchronization should be clear here, right? That is flow control. Sender has to send the packets with synchrony to the receiver. Next is a network layer. Network layer is mainly responsible for routing purpose. That means if you want to send information from sender to receiver, sender can choose different paths, right? So which there will be different paths. So here your sender should choose the path, mainly shortest path. So that routing, what route it has to take, that routing is taken care by network layer. Next is data link layer. The data link layer is very similar to the network layer, except the data link layer facilitates data transfer between two devices on the same network. Network layer means devices can be from different networks, But data link layer means devices should be belongs to same network, right? And one more important thing, I forgot to tell you, in a network layer the information will be in the form of packets. So in transport layer the information will be in the form of segments. The in a network layer the information will be in the form of packets. In a data link layer the information will be in the form of frames, right? And one more important thing, network layer in a data link layer is also responsible for flow control and error control in intra-network communication. That means node to node flow control is taken care by data link layer. End to end flow control is taken care by transport layer. That means sender to receiver it is taken care by flow control is taken care by transport layer. Intermediate nodes uh, is taken care by data link layer. What is a physical layer? This layer includes the physical equipment like cables, switches. So here the information will be in the form of bits, because the information should be converted, right, from segments, frames into bits, because bits is a machine readable format. Next, to explain this in detailed manner, I'm taking a scenario here. Here my scenario is to send email from my computer which is located in India to my friend's computer which is located in USA. I'm using OSI model here. See, here this is the sender side, that is my computer, where I'm sending the information how are you to my friend. Once I click the send button, this is the application layer, guys. Here I told you user can directly interact with the softwares like emails, browsers. So once I click a send button, so this information will move to uh, presentation layer where encryption takes place. Here you can see there however your information is converted into different format. Here this is the several encryption techniques are there. I will explain those encryption techniques in the next coming videos. So here this however your information is converted into different format. Next, in a session layer you can see there, so session is established here. Session started at 10 a.m. what and how much data is transferring, those details, right, are displaying in your browser. So this is session layer task. Mainly it has to establish the communication. Next, transport layer, you can see there my encrypted data is converted into segments. Here you can see that these are the different segments, and here in a transport layer I can decide what type of communication I have to what type of communication should take place. For example, connection oriented or connectionless. Connection oriented means you have to establish the connection before sending the data. Initially you have to establish the connection. For example, telephone is an example there. There to right, to send the information, connection should be established in the beginning itself. Connectionless means connection should be established based on the runtime. For example, I am not sure about the path, right, I can choose my path in the runtime only. I can't guarantee that I am going to select this path only, right? So I can select any path based on the traffic and I can send my information. Here in this example I am taking a connectionless. Here see here sender is there, receiver is there. Between the sender and the receiver there will be so many nodes. Here sender can select a node 1, node 3 or node 2, pass his information, right. This is taken care by the transport layer. So obviously sender can choose the shortest path here, right, to send the information. Next you can see there network layer. Network layer, you can see that there are lot of paths here. So for example, sender to node 1, node 1 to node 3, node 3 to receiver. For example, sender to node 2, node 2 to node 3, node 3 to receiver. So here, so network layer has to choose one path between all the other paths. There are lot of paths, but you have to choose only one path. Network layer is responsible for selecting that one path, routing. And one more important thing, IP addresses are used here. and the information in the network layer is converted from segments to uh, packets. You can see here, right? So packets are sending between sender and receiver. So each machine in a network have separate IP addresses. If a machine is in the different network, then the IP address will change, right? Next, data link layer. You can see there, this node is in the network 1, this node is in the network 2, this IP address is different, this IP address is different. Suppose if nodes belongs to the same network, we don't need network layer only here, because I can't guarantee that. For example, because my system is located in India and my friend's system is located in USA, so my network is different, his network is different, right? That's why I need a IP addresses. So data link layer is when there is no different networks are there. If your nodes are belong to the same network, then IP addresses are not necessary, right? Only these link addresses are necessary. See, you can see there how the information is converted into frames here. So see here, guys. So first, in transport layer it will be in segments, now it will be in packets, now it will be in the form of frames. It will be in the form of frames. Lastly, you can see there your information will be converted into bits in physical layer. So sender is sending the bits to the receiver using the cable here. Here the information is from top to bottom, that is from application to physical layer. But in the receiver side it's a reverse thing. Communication starts from physical layer to application layer. Here in a sender, the because my information starts from application to physical, but in the receiver it's from physical to application, right? So here in a sender, bottom to top, but in a receiver, top to bottom. Your bits will be transferred through wire or a cable. Now uh, I will take up the receiver side. Here in the receiver side, the same process repeats in the reverse order. See, here it's starting from physical layer. There in the sender side, it starts from application layer, because you are sending the information. Now your information has to reach the receiver, so it will be in the form of bits, right? So your information is converted from bits to frames here, right? Now next, your information is converted from frame to packets. You can see there, packets contain addresses along with your data, because to send your information you need a sender address also, you need a receiver address also. That's why, right? You can see there. Next, your information will be converted into segments here. You can see there, right? Here even your data, still your data is in the encrypted format only. You can see there. Now you can see there again, session is still ongoing because data is still transferring, right? So session is still ongoing here, it is not completed yet. Next, see here, yes, now in a presentation layer the decryption takes place. That means your what is the information here, that is A2 triple E2 GGG, that is different format, right? That is converted into your original form, that is hi, how are you, right? So still up to transport layer it was in the encrypted form only. Now in a presentation layer it will be converted into user readable format. You can see there, right? So this encrypted data is converted into the original format, that is hi, how are you. Lastly, so you can see there in the application layer in its receiver side, my friend can see hi, how are you message. He can view hi, how are you message. So understood, guys? So from the sender to receiver side I explained each layer in step by step. So first I will start with the application layer in the sender side, where uh, a user send the message, then it will be encrypted in the presentation layer, then session should be established in a session layer. In a transport layer you have to choose what type of communication, whether a connection oriented or a connectionless. Here I take an example of a connectionless. Then the next I will move to network layer, where I should choose the path from several different paths. Next, data link layer. For example, I told you that in a network layer, devices can different to different networks. There you need different IP addresses, but in a data link layer, you need only, right? Uh, if your systems are belong to same network, you don't need any network addresses. Next, physical layer, your information will be in the form of bits. In transport, it will be in the form of segments. In network, it will be in the form of packets. In data link, it will be in the form of frames. But in the physical layer, your information will be in the form of bits, because your information has to pass through cable, right? That's why it is a machine readable thing. That's why it has to be converted in bits. Again, in the receiver side, from bits to frames, frames to packets, packets to segment. You have seen that, right? Right. Lastly, decryption takes place in the presentation layer. In the sender presentation layer, encryption takes place. Lastly, you will see the message in the application layer of the receiver side. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please click the bell icon to get the notifications, and don't forget to like and share.